Hi, I'm Evelyn,
And I'm Robert.
and this is Talking About It.
This is one of our bonus episodes about Beowulf and how much it connects with Tolkien.
Yes. So this episode is our second to last. And this is all about Grendel and Gollum.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of similarities
Those
here.
are,
Right off the bat, just creepy, crawly, coming out of the lake of in caves, like not liking anything, having an obsessive personality. I mean, it's a lot, and especially like the way that they were both rendered in their live-ish action movies. They're even rendered very similarly when you look at the Beowulf movie, which I highly recommend no one watch, and the Lord of the Rings movies. They look very similar, and the way that they're described is very similar as well, where they like to go on all fours. They like to use brute strength to kind of get their way. They both have a thing against sunlight and sound, and there's a lot there.
my favorite combination of ideas between the two. Both of them are cannibals.
Yes, they are both cannibals.
Yeah, because Grendel eats men, and Gollum, not necessarily men, but he'll eat whatever he can get hold of.
Right.
Goblins. He was going to eat Bilbo if he caught him.
Yeah, he likes his fishies. He likes rabbits. Yeah, they're both carnivores.
And they were both outcast.
Yes, they're both outcasts from society, where they live on the brinks, and it really isn't until they're disturbed that they go into the outside world. And them coming into the outside world and coming into the bigger picture has ramifications for years to come.
Right.
Now, that being said, with all those similarities, there are some stark differences.
Yeah.
The biggest one for me, sorry, I keep cutting you. This is just something I actually know about. Yeah, the biggest one for me is the difference between how Gollum and Grendel, their origin story. Because
Right.
Grendel is pure evil, pure hatred, just pure darkness. He's born that way. Where Gollum was kind of morphed and created into this dark creature by an outside evil force.
Right.
And then we have their endings as well, where Grendel, there's no hope for him. He's just an evil monster that must be destroyed. Versus Gollum, you see slight bits of like hope there for him. Like, he makes the wrong choices in the end, and in the end the ring consumes him, and outside forces such as the way he's treated also kind of gets into that as well. But there's hints where it's like he possibly, if the right circumstances were there, could have done good at the end. Where Grendel, no, not at all.
Right. And one of the things I really think interesting about when Grendel is outcast, one of the translations says he was outcast, a wanderer in the waste of the race of Cain.
Yes.
And
yeah, he's not even human.
Right.
Like, it's the race of Cain, which in Catholicism is like this like pure evil, where evil came upon Cain, and when he killed his brother
Right.
Abel, and like the first like murder in history, like in the Bible, and it's a lot, and so he bears the mark of Cain. He is of Cain. He's just of evil.
Right. And like you said, Grendel was kind of like that from the beginning.
Yeah.
But Gollum was transformed.
Right.
Over his greed, and that's the other thing Grendel doesn't have. There's nothing greedy about.
Right. Grendel does not have that greed. Where with Gollum, it's flaws that he already had that was manifested tenfold by the ring. Whereas Grendel, again, he's just pure nothingness. He's just pure evil, pure hatred, pure gloom and darkness, and the antithesis of joy.
Right. Yeah.
Because in the Beowulf story, Grendel, basically the celebrating of the halls of King Ragthor is what basically triggers him. He gets annoyed by these constant cheering and partying, and I mean, yeah, he's kind of like an old man that gets annoyed by his upstairs neighbors partying all night, but they don't go around murdering people.
But he's also, I mean, he's like totally unable to bear the sound of human pleasure.
Yes. It causes him physical pain.
And even nice music.
Yeah, it causes him physical pain.
But Gollum kind of has that too.
Exactly.
Like
he can't eat cooked food.
Well, I was thinking about, human voices.
True, yeah.
He can't stand a kindly voice.
Mm-hmm.
It would only make his evil part of him even angrier.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think all that's pretty interesting how that connects. And, and knowing what we know about Tolkien, about how much of his love of Beowulf, I mean, he kind of wrote The Lord of the Rings as his answer to a backstory of mythology for England.
Yes. And knowing that, and knowing how influenced he was by these stories, you definitely see the influence of Grendel in Gollum. There's no denying the influence there. I mean, our next episode is going to be about the dragon, and that's an episode.
There's also some similarities between the dragon and Gollum too.
Okay.
So, greed.
Yes, the greed.
The greed for ring. They're transformed. They're transformed by the greed they have.
Yes.
And
not really. We can get into that more in the dragon episode, but the dragon is kind of a being of greed.
Well, he's greedy for treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And he would change himself into a dragon to guard his treasure.
Right.
So he turned himself into it.
Yeah, that is true.
Instead of, where Gollum got turned over the decades and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And can I add my little part about Precious here?
Okay.
So Gollum's name for the ring is Precious.
Yeah.
Which Precious in Old English is Mapu, Mabu, Mabam, something like that. And in Old English, it's Mapum, but
that's the th sound.
But the same word in German, in Old German, means a dragon's hoard.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that weird symbol, don't ask me how I know this. I learned it a long time ago. That's a th sound. So it's Mathum.
Mathum. Okay.
Yeah, Mathum.
Mathum.
I'll try to figure out how to put a picture of that symbol out there so you guys can see it. But the only reason I remember how I know it now, we learned that in high school when we were learning Beowulf.
Oh, okay.
I just remember being like, why are things pronounced the way they are? So confused. My teacher's like, this is the th sound. And I'm like, oh.
Come on. The person that has family in New Orleans or has a street named Chapatula, but it begins with a T.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you surprised by that at all?
I'm not surprised. It was just very frustrating to my dyslexic and poetry adverse mind.
So, is that all you got?
I think that's all I had. This was a pretty short episode. It's barely 10 minutes, but it was short and sweet, I think.
I think the dragon is going to be a little longer.
The dragon, I think it's going to be shorter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it might be shorter. I feel like the dragon episode is going to be very straightforward, like this one.
I think I have a lot to say about Schmog and...
Oh, then I'm excited then.
And what's his name? That turns into a dragon.
He's just the dragon. He doesn't have a name.
No, Faunir changes himself into the dragon.
No, the dragon's just the dragon. I think we're going to look into that episode because I feel like that's not right.
Okay.
But we'll figure it out. Okay. Well, join us for this next episode and we'll figure that out.
I've been Robert.
And I've been Evelyn.
And this is Talking About It Special Edition Beowulf Special.